Seed sisters in the garden. Seed sisters in the garden. Seed sisters in the garden.
Hello, I'm Karen. I'm one of the Seed Sistas, co-founder of our social enterprise, Sensory Solutions Herbal Evolution, promoting herbalism.
And here we're going to share a little bit of our story with a specific focus on sustainability and caring for our beautiful planet. We'll share
some of the pitfalls, inspirations and successes that we've moved through along the way. Over 20 years ago, I went to university to study my hobby of herbalism, and one of the best bits on that 4-year full-time BSc in Herbal Medicine was meeting my other sister, Fiona Heckles.
In her, I recognised a kindred spirit.
Hello there, I'm Fiona, one of the Seed Sisters and also co-founder of Sensory Solutions Herbal Evolution. And we both have an insatiable passion for plants and a deep anger at the state of society and the lack of care of this beautiful planet that we inhabit. After much debate and discussion after we met, we decided to channel that rage into something that was positive to try and cultivate change. We are completely committed to the promotion of empowerment, autonomy, freedom, health and diversity through teaching about plant medicine. We've had to find creative ways to do this to reach as many people as possible with our work.
What is sustainability? The definition of sustainability is the study of how natural systems function, remain diverse, and produce everything it needs for the ecology to remain in balance. Also acknowledging that our human civilization takes resources to sustain our modern way of life.
The concept of sustainability is composed of 3 pillars. Those are economic, environmental, and social, which are known informally as profit, planet, and people. Interestingly, social enterprises are a structure of business that incorporates these ideals. They're businesses set up to benefit people and the planet, not just solely focused on profit. And profit is used to enable a holistic sustainability within the business. Our organisation, Sensory Solutions Herbal Evolution, is a social enterprise, which means that all of the profits are ploughed back into the aims of the organisation, which in our instance is the reconnection of people with their beautiful planet through learning about herbalism and through growing community medicine gardens. Medicinal plants are globally valuable sources of new drugs. There are over 1,300 medicinal plants in Europe, of which 90% are harvested from wild resources. In the United States, about 118 of the most commonly used prescription drugs are based on natural sources. With this increasing demand for herbal drugs, natural health products, and secondary metabolites of medicinal plants, the use of medicinal plants is growing rapidly throughout the world. A highly conservative estimate states that the current loss of plant species is between 100 and 1,000 times higher than expected natural extinction rate, and that the earth is losing at least one potential major drug every 2 years.
What are the challenges that our global community face? And how can connecting with plants and cultivating plants address some of these challenges? Fiona and I hold a vision of a world filled with community medicine gardens. And we want to share with you how your community can benefit from this global herbal evolution. When we first came out of university, finishing the degree, we were quite shocked at how few people actually knew what herbal medicine was. People didn't understand that plants growing around them could actually help with various different conditions they were suffering from. We realised that there's a huge disconnect between people and their local plant medicines. They truly had no idea what herbalism, phytotherapy or herbal medicine was, and many people just looked at us with a quizzical expression saying, "Is it homeopathy?" And it was in those instances that we realised the enormity of this disconnection. And it coincided with a new EU directive that was just on the cusp. It was the 2004 European Herbal Medicine Directive. And we knew that this directive would further detach people from nature, making it more difficult for access to herbal medicines.
It's essential that people understand what herbalism is in order to address the huge issues that the lack of knowledge and care for plant medicines has brought. Worldwide ecocide, destruction of habitats, species and wild spaces. We're also aware health is a social and racial justice issue, and access to healthy foods and herbs for medicine are an important part of reaching underserved communities.
For many years, we have been driven by the knowledge that the world we live in is in ecological crisis, and life on Earth is feeling this chaos with deepening sadness. There are also issues of health injustices. People simply cannot afford good quality healthcare. Our own professions of herbalism and aromatherapy are in the mainstay private medicine, only accessible by more affluent communities.
Movements for health justice, sustainability and environmental projects are blossoming world over, often with women at the helm.
But we are living in a world that has far to go. And there are many people that are working and fighting for change, for social change and environmental laws to be brought into the court system. Despite the existence of international agreements or codes of conduct, the devastation and harm to our atmosphere is worsening.
The work of holding back the industrial ecocide is exhausting. Like so much in our fast-paced, materialistic society, it's easy to ignore the connections between a bottle on a shelf and a living, growing plant in a local surrounding.
Many of the herbs contained in bottles in UK shops have come from other continents. We like to use local plants and we aim to demystify complicated medical jargon with something that's more accessible to all. As herbalists, when we left university and we started our own social enterprise,
we did not realise the enormity of the medical power structure and how that would impact us. It changed massively when the EU 2004 directive came out. From us picking, gathering, harvesting and making our own plant remedies, we had to make a huge shift.
Our aim has always been to get as many people to connect with herbs as possible. And we did this by travelling around festivals, fairs, markets and events with a herbal stall full of remedies produced from herbs that we'd grown and harvested ourselves. Our idea was that if someone had just one drop of a herb and could feel the impact of the medicine, it might be enough to stimulate an interest in exploring more. And then we were called on midsummer solstice by the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, the MHRA. And we were told that we couldn't carry on working the way that we were, selling herbal tonics on our local market stall, a place where herbalists have worked in this way since time immemorial. Even though we held university degrees in our subject, we couldn't make plant remedies to sell to the public without extremely expensive licenses, which were only attainable if we compromised our values, because they involved animal testing. On the back of this, we had to change the way that we were working with herbs.
We put our focus into educating people about plants and herbs over just making plant remedies to sell. We set up the Sensory Herbal Apprenticeship, and we toured the land with interactive theatre, showing people the wonders of herbal medicine through story. We tasked our apprentices with setting up their own local community medicine gardens, as well as developing our own projects locally to ourselves and the places that we teach.
Our aims are to cultivate change, re-educating society about herbalism, to create access to herbs for basic healthcare needs, connect with and learn from other projects working in a similar field, and ultimately to ensure that people care about their green spaces.
Community gardens have the potential to mitigate many of the problems that plague our societies. They can be a beneficial addition to many
by increasing the availability of nutritious foods, useful medicines, strengthening community ties, reducing food miles and creating a more sustainable system all round.
Fiona and I are committed to developing projects to create a change. We want to infiltrate society, to have a huge consciousness shift. We want people to think more holistically about health, well-being and sustainability.
There was a recent shocking revelation in an Australian study to show that children as young as 3 years old were recognising brand logos and were able to name the company long before they were able to read. And there was a Dutch study where 2-year-olds were also shown to recognise numerous corporate logos easily. But as we're well aware, relatively few know the names of common plants growing outside their doors. Through each community medicine garden project, education can be proliferated about recognising the medicinal power of plants through the growing, harvesting, and identification and creation of simple plant remedies.
Herbal medicine is the people's medicine. As community herbalists, we have always harvested our plants from our local environment and chosen to do this over plants that come from far-flung climes. Whilst we were at university, a lot of our training, our materia medica, was focused on plants that came from all over the globe.
And very little about the herbs that grew locally to us. We chose to focus on local because of the importance of sustainability.
We're committed to teaching people about their local plant medicines and helping further and deepen that connection.
In this current world, people are seeking out hedgerow medicines. There's growing interest in our craft, and we need to ensure that there's access to information, knowledge, but also to the plants themselves. Sensory herbalism, developed by us Seed Sisters, has a strong political ethos. Naturally, in following the plants and harvesting them through the seasons, it becomes obvious that huge areas of habitat and plant diversity are seriously lacking and under threat. A positive shift occurs in each person that's educated about the harvesting and utilisation of herbal medicine. Through this reconnection, we're building together a whole new vision of healing that's relevant to today. One that's built on knowledge from the past and supports the movement away from the corporate power structure that medicine's become.
We can take the pressure off government-funded healthcare, like the NHS here in the UK, by introducing people to their locally growing abundant plants in order to treat their own minor ailments. And we can also build healthy communities by connecting people with their local herbs.
We produced the Sensory Herbal Handbook as a way to further reach people. Written by us Seed Sisters and illustrated by the wonderful artist Belle Benfield. It's a practical guide, a culmination of years of working with plants, health and the cycles of the year, and has been written for anyone who's heard the whispers of the wild and has been stirred to know more. A percentage profit of all of the sales of the book goes towards a community medicine garden grant scheme.
Getting your hands deep down in the soil, sowing seeds, planting out, weeding, is all a whole new branch of studied healthcare. Social and Therapeutic Horticulture is its name. So, social and therapeutic horticulture is the process of utilising plants and gardens to improve mental and physical health and to aid in the development of communication skills and thinking.
Gardening is a wonderfully flexible thing to do that can transform lives with the ability to help everyone, regardless of age, gender, or disability. And because of all this excellent research, there is funding available to set up community gardens, and we've been able to access some of this. The Earth Pathways Diary are a collective of people that provide a seed fund for the setup of projects, one of which was our medicinal herb garden here in Dorset.
Here in my local village in Hertfordshire, we secured funding to plant up a community orchard on a 6-acre plot. The funding came from the old Landfill Trust, now known as Grantscape. We were also gifted lots of hedgerow natives from the Woodland Trust. This project is thriving, seeing regular volunteer work parties, lots of events and real social engagement. The benefits of gardening are endless, but they include better physical health through exercise and learning how to strengthen your muscles, improving mobility, improved mental health through a sense of purpose and achievement, the opportunity to connect with others, thus reducing feelings of isolation or exclusion, acquiring new skills to improve the chances of finding employment, and just feeling better for being outside, in touch with nature and in the great outdoors. There are so many amazing growing projects addressing some of these big issues, and we've had the pleasure of connecting with loads of other activists in this arena.
In addition to directly serving the communities and providing all of those benefits, we can actually form direct relationships with plants. Plants are our ancestors and they can become great friends. We've evolved together, and this is clearly demonstrated through the interaction of plant compounds with receptors that are located within the human body. Compounds which are often almost identical in their structure to various hormones and neurotransmitters produced within the body. These plant compounds interact with us on many levels, exerting effects on us physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. We are, in essence, made of the same stuff.
Plants and people have lived together side by side since the very beginning of human development. We share a rich and colourful history and intertwined relationships. We can speak the same language as the plants if we just give ourselves the chance to do so. Taste a bitter lettuce or a sweet apple and the conversation begins. The way a plant tastes gives us clues to its physical actions. Plants converse with us through their visual appearance, their taste, their scent, and the way they feel and the energy they emit.
Taking the time to stop and breathe, to sense and experience, brings us an awareness of each plant and forms the start of that relationship. The more we experiment, explore, and practice speaking to plants in this way, the greater our knowledge about them becomes, the deeper our relationship goes, just like getting to know a person. The more we interact with the plants, the more they reveal themselves to us, and the more confident we become about using them for medicine.
Are you interested in setting up your own community medicine garden? Please do get in touch.
We've got loads of information and links on our website, sensorysolutions.co.uk, as well as guest blogs from other people that are running community gardens and different projects to inspire and inform. All of the profits from Sensory Solutions Herbal Evolution go back into furthering the aims of our organisation. If you're running a project, please do get in touch. We'd love to host information about it.
Maybe you want to write to us about something that you're passionate about.
Or you might like to join us on our newsletter, getting links to some of these articles and recipes. You can also sign up at the website for those.
Let's grow this herbal health community globally.
And we really hope to connect more with you all soon. Thanks.
Thank you so much for listening to us. We wish you much luck and good health.
Seed sisters in the garden. Seed sisters,